That sounded like a happy little bass, didn't it? Reminds me of that song by Bobby McFerrin. Don't worry, be happy. You don't know it? I think it's funny because Bobby McFerrin is an absolutely brilliant and very complex musician who I believe graduated from the University of California at Fullerton with a doctorate degree in music. And his most famous song is, Don't Worry, Be Happy Now. Well, as I was rushing to get here to give my talk, An Unhurried Mind, I came across a wonderful passage that I would like to share with you. It's from the book entitled, After the Ecstasy, The Laundry, by Jack Kornfield. It's entitled, Reverse Living. Life is tough. It takes a lot of your time, all your weekends, and what do you get at the end of it? Death, a great reward. I think that the life cycle is all backwards. You should die first and get it out of the way. Then you live 20 years in an old age home. You are kicked out when you're too young. You get a gold watch. You go to work. You work 40 years until you're young enough to enjoy your retirement. You go to college. You party until you're ready for high school. You become a little kid. You play. You have no responsibilities. You become a little boy or girl. You go back into the womb, and you spend your last 9 months floating. And you finish off as a gleam in someone's eye. I thought that was really charming. And then he comments, religion attempts to explain the mystery of our birth into this world. Meditation and prayer attempt to open us to it. Wisdom celebrates this mystery, and compassion loves it all, the gleam in every single being's eyes. An unhurried mind. I remember one time I went to a meditation retreat with a very, very world-famous guru. This guru was a very beautiful woman, very loving, and 6,000 people had gathered at the Riviera Resort in Palm Springs to hear her speak on New Year's Day. She always gives a New Year's Day message. And we had been meditating and chanting and singing and so forth, and she was late. She was late for the 6,000 people that came to see her from all over the world. And when she got there, she walked in very beautifully. She's a very composed-looking, poised-looking person, and she walked very slowly to the front, sat down on her little chair that was surrounded by flowers, and she said, "We're so busy. We're so busy." She said, "I knew you were all waiting for me, and my handlers were rushing me because we got a little bit of a late start coming over to the resort. But," she said, "I wanted to slow down because there was jasmine growing, and it was so beautifully fragrant. And so I slowed down, and I took time to inhale." She said, "We are so busy, so rushed, so hurried. We don't have time to listen to the prayer of the jasmine flower." I never forgot that. So what's the rush? Inside the great mystery that is, Rumi said. Now, I want you to know who Rumi is. Jalaluddin Rumi was a poet. He was considered a poet saint in the 13th century. And do you realize that Rumi is now the best-selling poet in the United States in the 21st century? There's a reason for that. Rumi was a person who experienced the ecstasy of the oneness with the divine, the oneness with God. And in a state of ecstasy, he would just spout this incredibly profound poetry. And he never wrote anything down, but his followers would quickly, I don't know if they knew shorthand back then in the 13th century, but somehow or another, they wrote down all these wonderful things that he said. And one of the things was, inside the great mystery that is, we don't really own anything. What is this competition we feel then? Before we go one at a time through the same gate. It's interesting. What is this competition we feel then before we go one at a time through the same gate? So, what is the rush? Why are we hurrying about so much? Do you know that most crashes in Visalia happen because somebody went through a red light? What's the big hurry? Where are we going? What do we have to get to? That's so important. I once was living a rather undignified life. That's a kind word, kind way of saying it. Doing all kinds of dumb and destructive things. And I had this moment of clarity where I said, please don't let me die before I discover the truth. Now that's an interesting thought to cross your mind when you live in the wild life. But I had a sense that there was a reason for life. There was a reason that people took on individual humanity, an individual experience of humanity. And I had a sense there was something very important that I was supposed to know, with all my rushing about. And I wanted to make sure that I discovered it before I left this realm. It reminds me of a story. One of the great spiritual teachers once said, search for the truth with the intensity of a man whose hair is on fire searches for a pond. Find the truth. The human mind has absolute freedom, one author wrote, as its true nature. There are thousands and upon thousands of students who have practiced meditation and have obtained this realization. It does not matter the simplicity of the method you use. If you can't find the truth where you are, where else do you expect to find it? Well, let me say that one more time so that I can see a rosy glow start to emanate from your face. If you can't find the truth where you are, where else do you expect to find it? It reminds me of a story, but I think most of you have heard it, about the man who was searching for the truth. His name is always the same. He's like the Charlie Brown of Indian stories. He was looking, his name is Nasruddin, and he was looking for truth. And he went on a journey, he left his father's house, and he took with him a donkey that his father had given him. And he and the donkey became good friends. As he searched for the truth, he searched everywhere for the truth. He went high into the Himalayas. He searched out gurus all over the world. Anytime he heard about a poet, a saint, or a holy man, he would go and chat with this holy man. And so years and years went by, and after a while, he was beginning to, tire of this search. Not only that, but his donkey was really tired. He lay down and died. And the man was so sad because this donkey had been his companion on his journeys all over the world. And so he took time to bury this donkey, to make kind of a mound at the side of the road and to surround it with flowers. And he got some candles and lit them. And then he sat in meditation with his eyes closed next to the mound where the donkey was buried. And people came by and they thought, oh, a great saint must be buried here. And they began to bring flowers and candles. And some even brought jewels and pieces of fruit. And pretty soon, this huge decoration grew and grew and grew. They decided we should build a temple to honor the saint. And so they decided to build a temple, and much work went into it. Meanwhile, of course, the original fellow, Nasruddin, was getting kind of nervous. He didn't want to actually say who was buried there. But anyway, they built this giant shrine to this saint. And people came from miles around to visit the shrine and to offer their prayers and offer their gifts. Pretty soon, Nasruddin decided to go home to visit his father. And when he went home to his father, he said, a strange thing happened. You know that donkey that you gave me? The father said yes. And his father actually was in charge of a very famous temple and shrine. And so he said, well, you know, when he died, I buried him at the side of the road, and I decorated his grave with flowers and candles. And I went into deep meditation, and when I woke up, a whole lot of people had come, and they had decided to build a shrine there. And so now it's a famous shrine. And, you know, I'm the head of a famous shrine. I don't want to tell them, you know, that the donkey is buried there. And the father said the same thing happened to me. So, what are we worshiping? What is our life all about? The story illustrates that sometimes we're worshiping, in Americans' case, success, materialism. And, you know, somebody once said, who moved here from another country, America is absolutely wonderful, that you have to be as rich as God to live here. Yeah, there's so much stuff we have to have. And we have to have jobs to get the stuff. You know, and then we have to pay insurance to maintain the stuff in case it gets stolen or goes bad. So there's a lot of rushing going on. There's a lot of hurry. One of my favorite spiritual teachers of all time has what he calls the 8-point plan for coming into a state of enlightenment. And one of the points is slow down. Slow down. Jack Kornfield, in his book, After the Ecstasy, The Laundry, he says, a beauty calls to us, a wholeness that we know exists. The Sufis call this the voice of the beloved. We are born into this very world with the song in our ears. Yet we may first come to know it by its absence. When we live without connectedness, without an illumination of spirit, we can feel in ourselves the deep longing of a lost child. A subtle longing, as though we know something essential is missing. Something that dances at the edge of our vision, always with us like the air we forget about until the wind blows. Yet it is this elusive spirit which holds us completely, which nourishes our heart, summoning us toward the search for what life is all about. We are pulled to return to our true nature, to our wise and knowing heart. What is pulling you? Sometimes it seems negative. It's trying to show us, that negative situation is trying to show us what ultimately matters. One author once said, when anything negative happens to you, there's a deep lesson to be learned. There's a deep lesson concealed within that negative experience, though you may not see it at the time. Even a brief illness or an accident can show you what is real and what is unreal in your life, what ultimately matters and what doesn't. Seen from a higher perspective, conditions are always positive. Ooh, that's really deep. I want to kind of run that by you again. Seen from a higher perspective, conditions are always positive. I used to like to say, when you back out of the circumstances of your life, whatever they may be, incidents, accidents, illnesses, whatever, at the absolute level, the only thing happening is the unfolding of the perfection of God, the unfolding of the perfection of the divine. So whatever is happening in your life, I guarantee you it is there to reveal to you what is truly important. And if you're going too fast, you might just miss it. And then something else has to happen. Something is happening all the time to show you what's really important. But are we available to that lesson? Are we available? Once again, I like to quote from Rumi. He's such a wonderful poet, and he says it in a truly poetic way. He says, this human being is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected vision and visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes because each has been sent as a guest from beyond. It's an interesting way of looking at one's life. Each challenge, even a sorrow, a loss, some sort of trial situation has been sent as a guide from beyond. I'd like to practice something with you. I'd like you to slow down, to be willing to see things from that higher perspective. Where hurry prevails, accidents and incidents happen. There's some benefits to slowing down, and there's some dangers to not slowing down. I'd like to do a little experiment with you. I want you all to close your eyes if you're willing. Take it out for a test drive. We're going to do a little meditation, a guided meditation. I'd like you to see yourself entering a forest, a beautiful, beautiful forest. It's very quiet in this forest, and you're walking along a lovely path covered with pine needles and exuding the scent of that pine forest. As you walk into the forest, you feel your heart becoming quiet. Your heartbeat slows down, your respiration deepens. And you walk along, you hear the beautiful bird song, and you feel a deep silence in your heart that's very beautiful, that's like crystal. As you're walking along, you see a small stream just flowing so sweetly and smoothly through the forest, and you decide to lay down. You sit by the stream and you lean back against that lovely mattress of pine needles, so comfortable, so peaceful. And as you close your eyes, listening to the birds and smelling the delicious pine smell, you feel that every mistake you've ever made, every sadness that you have ever experienced, all pain, all dis-ease, flows away with that little stream. It just flows right off you. It flows into the stream, and you feel a lightness, a beautiful clarity that you've never felt before. Your body relaxes. Your heart relaxes. Your mind relaxes. And you feel so beautiful and clean. You feel that you are one with the original innocence of your being. And after you've rested for a while by this beautiful stream, you decide to walk deeper into the forest because you feel so relaxed, so rested. You want to see what's deeper. And so you get up and slowly move into what looks like a circle of trees. You walk toward it, and as you enter the circle of trees, you see inside a small meadow. And at the farthest end of the meadow, you see a large rock. And on the rock is a book, a golden book, a beautiful book. And you instinctively know that there is a message for you, a positive message for you inside that book. And so you slowly approach it. You look at the book. It's so beautiful. It's golden, and it's decorated beautifully. Someone has etched all kinds of lovely forms into the golden gilt book. Open the book. Look inside. What does it say? There is something for you to know about yourself, about life. And this something relieves you of all your fears. It relieves you of all your guilt. It relieves you of all anxiety. And you know you are well, and all is well. Open your eyes when you feel comfortable. There are benefits in slowing down. Increased and abundant energy, better health, peace of mind, harmonious relations with others, the beautiful and perfect flow of creativity in both your work and your play, and a longer and happier life. It's a wonderful song. I get a lot of truth from songs, you could say, either songs that I write or songs that others have written. And there's a beautiful song written by Daniel Namad. It's called My Soul Remembers. He says, my soul remembers your voice when all I hear is frustration and doubt. My soul remembers your grace when the hurt is searing as a desert. Still, I never go without. My soul remembers your touch when my body yearns to be cradled like a child. My soul remembers your strength when a heavy burden is weighing on me. I am sheltered all the while, whether at war or at peace, awake or asleep, whether I'm walking the streets or diving the ocean deep, whether it's winter or spring, whether I cry or sing. Oh, my soul remembers. My soul remembers. There is a deep, deep truth at the core of your being. And some people avoid it like the plague by hurrying, by rushing, by filling their lives to overflowing with things that really don't matter. And I'm here to tell you that that truth at the soul of your being is that you are wonderful. There was a reason I asked you to turn to each other and say, you're gorgeous, you're brilliant, because that is the truth. How could you be any less than that which gave you life? It's just not possible. I'm talking about the infinite beingness. As I was preparing this morning, I read what I usually read in the morning, which is from this lovely 365 Days of the Science of Mind. A beautiful passage. He says, we often wonder if peace really exists anywhere. In a world distraught with so much confusion and chaos, we deeply need an inner, abiding sense of calm and tranquility. Peace of mind really is what the world is searching for. Because without it, we have a sense of insecurity and loneliness. Without peace, deep and abiding, there can be no happiness or contentment, no security, no confidence. In such a degree as we attain peace, the indwelling presence makes itself known to us. For God is not met through confusion, but only when the mind is tranquil. So please repeat after me, if you are willing. Today I enter into the peace of God. My mind is stilled from all confusion. I feel a deep and abiding inward poise. I keep my mind stayed on the divine presence. I let every thought of discord slip away. I meet the reality of myself. I meet the eternal and changeless truth about myself. The truth is that I am an expression of God. I am one with God forevermore. There is no separation. There is no apartness. Here and now. Here and now. There is a voice that says, "Peace, be still, and know that I am God." God in me, God around me, God through me. That is the innermost and utmost truth. You don't have to say that part. Allow yourself to slow down. Because when you do, you're going to find out that you are gorgeous, that you are brilliant, that you are perfect. It doesn't matter how many times you have fallen. A great spiritual teacher once said, even if you've broken your vows 1,000 times, come. There is that which does not judge you. There is that which is never angry with you. There is only that heaven awaiting your presence, awaiting your attention. Take time to listen to the prayer of the jasmine flower. It's very beautiful. And so are you. And so it is. And you did from the beginning of eternity. Well, I'm trying to stay profound. Okay, we have a wonderful second song that is going to be shared with you by our guest artists, the Sitter Brothers Groove Band.
This one's called Keep the Faith.
Let's stand and join hands and sing.